Revolutionary Love. This is Baba Dr. Brother Samori Kamara here with you again. Thank you for continuing to be here in this class. So today we're going to be dealing with getting started. This is probably the number one question we get from people when they call us. They're saying, "Look, I watched some of the videos. I've been to the website. How do I get started with this?" All right, and so we want to really cover this topic today. All right, so let's get into it. Number one, I would say create a vision. What? Why are you homeschooling? Why do you want to homeschool? Why are you even thinking about this particular alternative route for educating your child? Because I think that's it's going to play a very big role in what you do and how you do it when it comes to homeschooling your child. I mean, you want to think about the advantages. You want to think about the disadvantages. What are the some of the advantages in the spiritual realm, right? Many of us have our own spiritual leanings, and the public school system don't really deal with those. So if we're homeschooling our children, then they would definitely get that spiritual grounding that they need, right? When you talk about character is of the utmost importance when you talk about African-centered education, and we definitely want our children to be very, morally upstanding folks, and people who are not only intellectually gifted, right, but gifted in their character. And as an African wisdom teaches us, um, a good name shines in the dark, right? And we want our children to understand that that's a very important thing to hold on to, right? Also, academic. Many homeschoolers across the country, or people who have been homeschooling for a while, they find that their children are, sometimes 2, 3 grade levels above their public school system and private school system counterparts. That's not going to be the case for everybody, but that's certainly there's certainly a lot of good reasons why homeschooling is allowing that to happen. And one of those things is that in the public school system, much of the time is not spent on education. I mean, you have a lot of fluff. You have discipline issues that people have to deal with. You have the housekeeping. You have the taking role. You have this, of course, the standardized testing. You also have the changing of classes and all those kind of things. And when you homeschool your children, your child, then all those things are out of the window. So you can do what you need to do in 2 to 4 hours, really. And when you talk about educationally, or academically, and of course the world is our classroom, and our children are always learning anyway, right? What are some of the social advantages of homeschooling? One is that they don't have to be around people, their own age the whole day. They don't have to necessarily be in a classroom with one teacher or maybe even two teachers, but you have 30 other students in the classroom as well, right? You don't have the social pressures, the peer pressure that many of our children succumb to being in a public school environment, right? And family. Family is very important. We hear reports from other homeschooling families that when they begin to homeschool, they become a lot closer as a family. I mean, it's kind of, difficult to really grow your relationship with your child if you only see them in the morning before they go to school, and see them, in a couple hours after school before they go to bed, right? And so if you're homeschooling, you have that 6, 7 hours, that 8 hours during the day to develop that relationship as well, and that's a beautiful thing, right? So create that vision, create that mission statement, a model that you will live by, doing in your homeschool. Really, create a mission statement for your family, a model for your family. So my model for my family, I take it from Amilcar Cabral's quote that says that we must act as if we answer to, and only answer to, our ancestors, our children, and the unborn, right? I say that to No Leeway, my daughter, all the time. And so we need to act in that way for us. That's our model. So when, if we're doing school, how would our ancestors, desire for us to act when we're studying, right? Why are we studying? Why did they study? What did they give us? Why are we standing on their shoulders, and on their greatness? What was their greatness, right? And what do we need to do for those who are yet to come, right? We have to be African warrior scholars for those yet to come. We have to be African warrior teachers for those who are yet to come. So create that mission statement for your family, for your homeschooling endeavor, shoot, even for yourself. What is your vision? What do you want to accomplish, right? And share that with your child as well. You know what? Stop this video and go ahead on and jot a couple ideas down about where you want to go with this homeschooling journey, right? Well, what kind of person you want your child to be. Stop the video and take some time and think about that. Because I think it'll serve you well. It'll help with your productivity. It'll energize your teaching, and you'll do a much better job, right? Dr. Amos Wilson, one of my favorite authors, the author of The Blueprint for Black Power, the author of The Falsification of African Consciousness, the author of Awakening the Genius of the Black Child, the author of, what else he got there? Developmental Psychology of the Black Child, all those books and many more. He said that when we talk about education, the education of our children, we must start with the question, all right, what kind of people do we need to solve the kind of problems we have as African people, right? And we need to keep that thought in mind, right? Because we are grooming the next generation. We're grooming the warrior teachers for 7 generations down the line. So we want to think about that and do our best to nurture that. And so next, after I tell folks, look, man, create a vision. Really think about why you're doing this. Because some people are doing it just to so-called fix their children, so that they can go back into the school system, right? Or they just want their children just to be smart. They want their children to be one of those children that graduate at 12 or 13 or 14 from high school and go on, But for me, that vision is revolutionary, right? That motto is revolutionary. That, for me, it's about re-Africanizing the minds of our people, reprioritizing family, right? Reprioritizing our liberation, right? And making sure that our children know who they are and where they are going, and and have them really understand the legacy they have to continue. They must understand that. Many of our folks don't know our story, so they don't feel like they owe anything to those who have come before us. They don't feel like they owe anything to those who are yet to come. I want my child, and I want your children to know that, and we must have that in our motto, in our mission statements, in our visions for our schools, right? So next thing we say is, check your state laws, right? Check your state laws. The best place to go to, hands down, is to go to hslda.org, and you can find your state laws there. Or you could just simply Google, the name of your state and homeschooling laws, and it'll be right there. So again, you can stop the video right now if you're curious about what your state says about homeschooling, and go check it out right now. Because people are different. I mean, Texas is one of the most, I guess, friendliest states to homeschooling. And, and some states require a great deal of regulation and oversight, right? So when you go look for those laws, think about a couple questions here. At what age is a child required to start formal schooling? So many places would be 6 or 7, right? What are the requirements for attendance? How many days a year are you required to go? Many states will say about 180. Keep that in mind. What is the amount of hours required per year, right? And again, I've heard a situation where a young child was sent home from school. Well, wasn't sent home. He was out of school for an extended period of time, and in order to keep up, they sent a tutor to him. The school sent someone to help him. And they only had to do 4 hours a week of classwork, right? 4 hours a week. So the mother would say, like, well, if he only has to do 4 hours a week, and he can stay on track with what they're doing in the public school system, then what are y'all doing for those 7 hours a day, those 35 hours, a week with my child, right? So think about that. You don't need as many hours. You don't need to have a schedule. You don't need to sit your child down for 7 hours a day and say we go learn since we done taken you out of the public school system, right? Also, you want to think about what kind of records do you need to keep for each year, right? What kind of records? And also, what subjects do you have to teach? Of course, you're going to have the basics of the math and the science, the our story or history or social studies, and what else you got? What else I said? Oh, English and language arts, right? So continuing, is there a certain curriculum that's required, right? If even if there is a certain curriculum that's required, I say you should be doing an African centered curriculum, right? For me, all these laws, they're cool. But even if my state said you can't homeschool, you can't educate your own child, guess what I would be doing? Educating my own child. I'm not going to give them anybody that power to tell me what I cannot and can do with my child. But that's me. That's neither here nor there. You want to see what if there's a certain curriculum that you have to use. And again, I know, and I'm sure you know that we don't need a Common Core. We need an African Core, right? What is the age of attendance? And again, we said that it's probably about 6 or 7 years old for the formal schooling. Is a notice of intent to homeschool required? And then if so, when and where do you need to submit it? And most states will ask you to notify them that you are now homeschooling your child. Is standardized testing required? That's a big question. In some states, yes, or in some states, no. In some states, you have an option. So in Louisiana, we have the option of giving a standardized test at the end of the year, or having a child take a standardized test at the end of the year, or we can just submit a letter from a certified teacher saying that the child is progressing satisfactorily in whatever grade that they are in, right? And lastly, are you required to withdraw from the public school, right? And if your students are currently enrolled in a school district, you may be required to officially withdraw them from the school, then submit your notice of intent to homeschool prior to starting. So you might have to withdraw them, and you should withdraw them anyway. I say don't send them back. I don't care when you listen to this. Don't send them back. No, you can. You must homeschool. You must do something. You must create a cooperative. You must join a cooperative. You must take the education of your children into your hands, or put them in the hands of people you actually know and trust. Too often we send our children to complete strangers and expect them to care about our children as much as we would. Not going to happen, right? So let's keep it moving. Detox or deschooling. Very, very, very important topic. Very important discussion that we don't see very often. I don't hear many people talking about detox, but detox is very important when we're talking about taking our children out of that toxic, hear me, out of that toxic environment of the public school system, right? So detox is a period of time after institutionalized schooling, right? Where the parent lets, just let your warrior be free and do whatever they want to do so that they can learn to re-love, or to learn loving, or learn, sorry, so they can learn, right? Relearn to love learning, right? Yeah, I said that. Let me say it again. And to help them relearn to love learning. That's big, because many of our children come out of that place, and we see them when they went in, 11, was it kindergarten, first grade, 6 years old, 7 years old, right? They go into that thing. I mean, they love learning. They can't wait to get to school, and by the time they're in the third or fourth grade, you can see the light has dulled in their eyes, right? And so if we're going to take our children out, we need to give them, really, you need to give them a little bit of time to just deschool, to detox, and to get ready for their homeschooling experience, right? Definitely need that time, and it's almost like a summer break, right? So let your child have that break. It might be just a couple days, right? It might be a week or two. It might be a month. Just allow your child to rest, to get rid of those toxins out of their body, right? Call it a flush. I like that. Call it a master cleanse of all the nonsense and pollution that they have gotten from the public food system, right? And while you're doing that, just tap into their interests, right, and allow them to lead, the way in what they want to learn, and just support them. So if your child likes basketball, let them study some basketball. Let them read some books on that topic. Let them do some projects on that topic. Just let their curiosity lead them. If they're into horses, same thing, right? So find out what their interests are. And many children, you'll find that they don't really have no interest, because not very often has the school system, or if any, have ever asked them, what do you want to learn? It's always about their curriculum. It's always about their tests. It's always about what they want them to learn, and never about what they would like to learn themselves, what they would like to study themselves. So many of our children, their curiosity goes out of the window, because they begin to ask, what question is it going to be on the test? And that question right there is the death of intellectual abilities. When our children begin to ask that question, and if you notice your children have asked that question, yeah, they definitely need some time to just detox, just to chill, and just to be reminded that who cares if it's going to be on the test? It ain't about the test. It's about you learning and mastering these particular topics, right? And in many cases, the parents, ourselves, right? The warrior parents who are becoming warrior teachers, who really need more detox from those toxic ideas than our children. At Kamala Academy, we don't even use grades anymore. We don't do A, B, C, D, or F. Why don't they ever use E? Anyway, but we don't do the grades. We don't want our children to think that, because I got an A, yeah, I got this. Or because I got a C, I'm better. Or I'm not as good. I'm not, if I got an F, I failed. Nah, nah. We want our children to be, again, about mastery, really, really learning the concepts, and not moving on until they got them. Right? That's what we are about. We don't really do grades like that. We don't really do report cards. I mean, if a child, if a mother wants a report card, sure, we can create one for them, and you can create one yourself, whatnot. But that's not as important as whether or not my child knows the subject, whether or not my child is curious, whether or not my child is disciplined enough to do what they're supposed to do, whether or not my child has stick to itiveness, when they don't succeed in the beginning. Do they pout about it? Do they go and go into a shell? Do they shut down, or do they continue? Right? Those things are much more important than a letter grade, right? And again, detoxing. Here's some advantages. It gives you, like, when you make that decision to homeschool, it gives you the time to plan, to research, to explore some of these options out here, and these curricula, that without feeling pressure, without feeling the rush to immediately, okay, I took you out of school yesterday, now let's go ahead on and try to do some school today. Nah, let them rest, and you take that time to find out the kind of information you would like to impart to your children and whatnot, right? And again, there's a lot of stuff online. Of course, you can go to kamaliacademy.com, and that will definitely help you out as well. And in this class, it's helping you out, I'm sure, right? Also, it gives back control over their own education. It gives them control, right? I mean, as an adult, we learn very well. We learn very quickly, because much of the stuff that we take the time to learn, we want to learn. I'm not talking about the stuff you got to learn for your job or something if you don't like your job, but the stuff we're interested in, man, we retain that stuff because we are what? We're interested in it. We want to learn it. We take control over our learning. We don't have to do book reports on the books we read, but we remember a lot of it, right? Another thing is, it gives warriors time to de-stress from the unpleasant things that go on in school. So sometimes parents call us and say, "Look, my child is being bullied because they want to be smart. They want to really excel, right? Or my child is just not feeling all these standardized testing, right? Every month they got a new standardized test. right? So it gives them that time to de-stress from those things, right? It also gives them time and opportunity to discover their own interests. And again, many of our children don't know what they're interested in. I mean, they used to say, "I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, whatever, whatever," but soon they don't even know what they're interested in it anymore. And so we have to allow them that time to read, to find those things, right? It also allows time for other types of learning. And so the young warrior can learn equally important life skills like cooking, gardening, construction, sewing, budgeting, car repair, all kinds of things. So use that time. Like he's been meaning to learn how to. If you got a high school, learn how to drive. Use that time. He's been meaning to. He's been very curious about cars, right? So get with a brother who's a mechanic and allow your child to go and learn as much as possible from them. Start a garden. Teach them how to cook. All those things are very much a part of the learning process, and it is a learning. It's a learning for a living, and it's a learning for a life, right? It's both of those together, right? So let's after we create our vision, right? After we check we withdraw our children and check the state laws, and we detox them, and while we're detoxing them, we should be really trying to get to know our child, and we should know them already. But I think this really helps. The Five Love Languages is a book by Gary Chapman, and they've done a number of books now around this theme of the five love languages. You got five love languages for children, five love languages for men, five love languages for singles, all those kind of things, right? So let's get to know our young warrior a little bit. So there's five love languages, as they say, right? There's personal touch, there's words of affirmation, there's quality time, there's gifts, and there's acts of service, right? And so we're going to go into each one, right? And to speak your child's love language is to really show you care and really show that you love them. So I have a little chart here, right, made by some website. It might be on here somewhere. I don't see it. Anyway, so the first one, personal touch, right? And this describes your child if they love to receive hugs, kisses, high fives. They like to cuddle, always ask to be carried. And I think my little baby, no leeway, might, that might be one of her joints. But she be wiping off my kisses sometime, and I don't like it. Anyway, so like the physical activities and the racing and wrestling and climbing and all that kind of stuff, right? And so for the mom or the father, hold their hand, hug them often, have some family cuddles and tickle fun, as the lady puts here, right? Read stories together on the couch, while they're on your lap as well, right? And so that's personal touch, and really we should know, our own love language, right? As warrior teachers, because that can make our relationship with our significant others better, or our future significant others better, right? If we understand, what our love language is, we can let other folks know, of course, so that they can speak our language. Or yeah. So anyway, we have next words of affirmation, right? It describes your child if they like others to tell them that they did a good job. Many of our children, love those words, right? We have some examples here, terrific, good job. I don't know, you're number one. Let's say you're number. I don't really say you're number one, but but no leeway. She climbed up on at the park on the jungle gym or something the other day, and she was really proud of herself. She said, "I did it, I did it, I did it." And I said, "Yes, ma'am, you did do it. You're a warrior, right? Great job and great effort, great effort." Again, for words of affirmation, so you might want to write notes on the mirror, or compliment them, speak positively about them. Always say I love you. Praise them out loud, and particularly around others. Write a letter to them. Come up with a cheer, a song with their name in it, and just be specific about your praise. There's a lesson later on in this class that I'm going to give about how we praise our children. Sometimes we praise them because, yeah, you're just so smart. You're a genius. We come from geniuses and whatnot. But we should be praising, number one, their effort, right? Because some things are not going to be so easy. Some things are not going to come, right off the bat. They're not going to understand things automatically. And so if you keep on pushing them to, pushing and saying that they're genius, then they won't push themselves hard, because they won't push themselves towards those things that they don't get immediately, right? Because they don't want to look like less than a genius in your eyes. So I'll get more into that a little bit later. But right now, I would write a letter to my child and tell them exactly what I think their strengths are, exactly, how I feel about them, right? Just and compliment them and praise them in this letter. So again, you can do it after the video, stop it, whatever. All right. Next, we have quality time, and this describes your child if they love to do things with you. Watch a movie, the yard work, out to eat. Our children, they love us. You know, and they, whatever they see us doing, they want to do it too, right? They try to get your undivided attention. They want to sit next to you, or have you watch them while they're playing. And of course, I get it all the time. Baba Samora, Baba Samora, look at this. Baba Samora, Baba Samora, check this out. Baba Samora, Baba Samora, look at this new dance move I just, and I get it from the young students all the time, right? So for mom or dad tips, run errands together, right? Have breakfast and date nights, make eye contact, ask about their day, pay attention to the details, plan things, plan some trips or whatnot with them, read together, and have a bedtime routine. And for us, it's we gonna eat dinner. And then a few minutes after that, we gonna be laying it down, and we're gonna get a story. All right, and that's some of our quality time. And me and Noliwe spend a great deal of quality time together. All right, gifts describes your child. If they feel good when someone gives them something, and they enjoy a special present or surprise. They enjoy birthday presents and things of that nature, right? And so you, as a mom or a mama or a baba, you can stash some small inexpensive gifts. Give them a flower or stone you find outside. Leave them gifts when you're out of town. Of course, bring them something back too when you're coming back. You know. Lastly, we have acts of service. Acts of service. This is a child who likes it when a person does something for them, or like helping them with the chores, school projects, driving places, making meals and snacks. They just enjoy those things. And anyway, think about how these love languages connect with you as well, right? So tip: practice some sports together, right? Work together on a project. Of course, check homework. I don't know if we be doing a whole bunch of homework if we're homeschooling, right? Pick them up on time. Ooh, I've picked them up on time. Yeah, the acts of service piece. I think that was one of my love languages when I was younger. So when people pick me up, even today, like, yo, you late. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Surprise them by doing a chore for them, or teach them, how to serve others. Teach them how to serve others, right? So acts of service. So you have the five love languages: personal touch, words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, and acts of service. I would, go to that website and see what your love language is if you haven't heard of this before, and also take heed and think about what your child's love language is, and write that down. Put it in your phone, whatever, so it'll always be around, so you can remember. Like, my child loves this. Let me speak their language today and always. All right. So this will be the final section of this particular video. Talking about how do we win with our warriors, right? And so one is to have good character and integrity, right? We got to be their foundation. Again, you are the first teacher. You are the number one teacher of your children as their parent, right? You are the one who they look to. You set the foundation for their life. So be strong, be wise, right? Always strive to be better, right? Your thought, your word, and your deed must not contradict. And of course, that's not easy, right? But as warrior teachers, we must strive to make that an everyday thing, right? That that they don't contradict. Also, we must fulfill our promises. I think in some businesses they'll say, under promise and over deliver, right? Under promise and over deliver. So have that good character, fulfill your promises, and we can win with our young one with that, right? Also, you want to nurture your seed. You want to encourage them. You want to respect them and recognize them. And one of the best ways to recognize your children, it doesn't take any time at all, is the accomplishment introduction. Now, I learned this from my man, Dr. Amari Johnson. With his band, and what's the band? The soul, the soul, the solar rebels, right? Amari and the solar pebbles and all that kind of stuff. When we were in graduate school at the University of Texas at Austin, when we would meet people, he would introduce me in such a way that made me feel so special. Like, man, this dude, this is my main man. And he sees things in me, and he praises me in a way that no one ever has, right? And so now I have not only do I do that for him, but I do that for many of the people, in my life, including my students. So if I'm with one of my students, and I meet with somebody, I say, hey man, this is brother Quadjo, this brother here. What? Not only is he going to be a farmer, but he's going to be one of the best minds that we ever produce as an African community, right? This brother can do the Rubik's Cube in 40 seconds. Now what? Right? And so yeah, this is Quadjo. Just give them that accomplishment intro right off the bat, right? And so another young sister, this is Sister Akili. Akili will be? She will be your veterinarian. You got a dog? Okay, she'll take care of your dog. She'll make sure your dog has, what she needs, and make sure that your dog is healthy and a good, partner for you. I don't know if partner is a good word for a dog, but you know what I'm saying, right? And Akili always smiles at that. So give them that accomplishment introduction. Encourage their dreams. And many of us don't encourage our children's dream because we never try to follow our own, right? And sometimes we say we trying to be realistic. There's too many realistic people out there, right? We need some crazy people. We need some folks who are zealots behind, what they want to do, behind their vision, right? And I know if you listen to this, if you're watching this, you're one of those people who would go for their dream, who would step outside of the norm, who won't just be in the rat race on a treadmill. You're going to step outside and you're going to say, you know what? You've already said, I got to educate my own child. Let me find out how to do that. Right? That's why you're here. So I know you're one of those people. Encourage them, respect them, and again, recognize them with that accomplishment intro is just simply one way to do that. Right? Look, have faith in them. Have Imani in them. Right? Imani is one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, right? Have faith in them. Believe in them before they succeed. Believe in them. Believe they will succeed. Know that they will succeed, and set those high expectations, right? Set those expectations really high, and they'll get there. They'll get there. Emphasize also their strengths. Too often we see our child's weakness and we say, look, nah, we got to work on that. Yeah, that's cool. Let's work on our weaknesses. Absolutely. You get no argument from me. But also spend more time, talking about and seeing and developing the strengths that they already have. Right? Got to do that for our young warriors. Right? Another one is listen to them. When you listen to them, it definitely shows the respect that you have for them. You ever try to talk with somebody and they feel like they already know what you saying? You don't feel respected. You're like, look, man, no, no, nah, hear me out. And so how many times do we do that to our children? When we ask them something and they begin to speak and we like, you know what, I already heard this line before, I already heard this already, right? And so that doesn't show respect. Your child, another person will feel disrespected in that way, right? But when you listen to them, it increases your knowledge. because you begin to hear what they're saying. You say, you know what, I never even knew that about you. Some of us don't even know our children because we never listen to them, right? And it also builds loyalty. We are loyal to people who are loyal to us. We are loyal to people who respect us. Loyal to people who understand us. So that's the next thing, right? Understand them, right? No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care, right? And we think about our interactions with our children. Do they know we care, or do they have to just like guess? Well, I guess they care because that's my mom, that's my dad, so I guess they care. No, do they know? Some of us live in households. Some of us grew up in households where we never heard "I love you," right? We never heard let me see it from your perspective, right? But we have to bring that to our children, right? Find out what they want and help them get it as much as you can, right? That's one of the things. I mean, I remember I wanted a guitar when I was in high school, right? Mom was like, "Why ain't getting you no damn guitar? What are you talking about?" You know what I'm saying? Mom was a cool person, but maybe she thought it was just a phase, But I finally got a guitar when I got to college, and I played it for a number of years, and I also became a music producer and all that kind of stuff. But I wish I would have got it earlier. I wish she would have supported me earlier, right? So we definitely want to support our children and see what they want, find out what they want, and help them get it. And as you're doing that, you got to navigate for them. You got to navigate for them. You got to help them again identify their passions, identify their goals, right? But then help them set their goals, because many of our children see a vision, right? But they don't see the steps that they're gonna need to take to get there, right? They wanna be a singer, but they don't see the steps that they got to take to build up their vocal muscles, right? They want to be a doctor, but they don't see the steps they have to take in the math class, in the science class. They say they don't like those things. Come on now, you got to have those things before we get to the next level. So with our experience, right, we can support them and get them where they need to be, right? So let's navigate for them as well, right? Next, we must connect with them. Gotta connect with them. Gotta find out where they are. Have you ever seen a train depot, right? Where you have all these different train cars that are filled with goods, with material, with oil, with whatever, right? But it's just sitting there, and it's going to sit there until what? A locomotive, an engine, gets on the same track as they're on and backs on up to them and connects with them. They ain't gonna move by themselves, but the locomotive can move them once it connects with them. We got to be that locomotive for our young ones. We have to be the locomotive for our warriors so that they can move towards their goals, towards their destiny, right? Towards their mission. We got to connect with them for them to get there, right? And we have to look for the common ground that we have with them. You got, they in one generation, we in another, but there's always common ground. And the best way, one of the best ways to find that common ground is to use the how do you say, the feel, felt, found method. Here it is. So a child says that this math, man, I don't know, it's really difficult, you know. So you feel them. You say, you know what, I can understand how you feel. I can understand, how you can feel that this math right here. It's kind of impossible. I understand how you feel there. In fact, I felt that way when I was your age and I was trying to learn this stuff. But what I found is that, as African wisdom teaches us, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So just take it one chunk, right? So let's learn this particular part, this particular element first and foremost, and then after we learn this one, after we master that, then let's go to the next step, and then on and on and on. And guess what? Before no time, you will be knowing how to do this, and you'll say, "Man, how did I ever see this as being hard?" So we have to again feel them, use that method, the feel, felt, and found method, and we'll see that it'll definitely connect them to us a lot better. All right, and also learn with them. At Kamali Academy, we don't really do the sage on stage. We don't do the standing in front of them talking at the children for the most part, right? What we do is, look, we're a guide on the side, and we gonna learn with you. I don't know everything. I'm good with that. I ain't trying to know everything. You know what I'm saying? And the wiser I get, the more I understand that I don't know. But I will be willing to learn it with my students, and they know that. And so that connects us a lot better as well, right? And lastly, we want to empower them. We want to evaluate what their strengths are, and not simply just their weaknesses. We want to model for them what we like to see, right? Model for them the kind of character, the kind of trustworthiness we would like to see out of them, and we want to give them authority. You know, especially when students start to get, about the fifth grade on up. We want to sell. We want to give them some authority and say, look, it's on you. What would you like to do? Okay, when would you have this done? You allow them to again direct their lives and direct their education. Because if we don't allow them to do it in our own home, and they didn't get it at the public food system, they will always be looking for somebody else to guide them. And how can you practice Kuji Chagalia or self-determination if you're always looking for somebody else to tell you what to do? So we got to give them that authority and give it to them early. All right, and that's some of the ways that we can win with our warrior. And so, to review, create your vision, create your family vision, create your vision for your homeschool, create your own personal motto or mission for your life, right? Review those state laws. Again, many of them will be similar. Some states are more lenient. Some states have more regulations, right? So go to that website, or just Google your homeschool state laws, and you'll find the laws for your state, right? Allow time for detox. Allow time for your children to kind of heal themselves from all the sickness and wickedness that was going on in the public food system, right? Another thing is speak their love language. Is it physical touch? Is it gifts? Is it words of affirmation? Is it acts of service? Right? What is it? Find out what it is, and speak it, so they'll know that you love them and you love them the way they need to be loved. Right? And lastly, we have to win with our young people. Review this video, write that letter to them. Just telling them how much you praise them. Also, find out what their love language is, and write it down. Put it in your phone, so you can remember, and so you can speak their language whenever they are around. Right? Thank you again for staying here. Hope this video has served you. My name again is Baba Dr. Brother Samori Kamara. You have some more videos and resources that are coming. I'll see you next time. Revolutionary love.